I remember back in the day, staff get-together was in a pub. That was a no-no. Christians should not be found in a pub. This was a big thing. Christians who ended up going for one reason or the other would have to defend themselves and say, oh, I only had the juice. I'm watching the young Christians of this time, and I noticed that their Christian walk, it's a noose around their neck. It begins to negate the power of God behind it. There's no room in there for growth. However, you can see how much these young people love the Lord. And as a result, they're unable to have a fulfilling Christian walk, a fulfilling childhood, or even teenhood. These are the kind of people that end up going to university away from their parents and then go wild because they never experienced anything like this. I think of X-Men. There's a character in X-Men, Wolverine, who he had the power to cure things, but before he could cure those things, before he could heal himself, he had to be exposed to those things, and then his body would create the antibodies against it. Young Christians, God did not put you on this earth so that you can be secluded to yourself. Yes, be mindful of where you're going. That does not mean that you can't go to places. You are meant to be on this earth as a salt. You are sprinkled across the earth as a salt. You're meant to be able to go out with them. They want to go somewhere, you go with them, but you are the Christian in their midst. Obviously, if you struggle with something and where you're going has that something there, of course, don't go. Everything in life has some form of element of you having to think about what you're going to do and where you're going to do it. For example, I'm a Marvel fan, but I'm not going to watch every Marvel movie because some of their movies are beginning to become wild. In the same vein, I love reading comics, but not all the comics. That's just me using my wisdom around what I'm taking in. Everything in life can be good and can also be bad. We as Christians are meant to navigate that and reach people. Unfortunately, our young people are unable to reach people because we're just going to church. That's all we're doing. We have Christians today who are unable to defend their faith because they haven't mixed with people. By mixing with people, you're going to know the talking points. What are people saying out there? What do people think about Christians? What are the arguments that they make against you? Why do they reject Christ? You're not going to hear all of that if you're not effective in your surroundings. Be a part of the community, a member of your neighborhood. Don't let your Christian walk be so restrictive and tight. You are not in bondage. Go into the world, preach. Go into the world and spread and preach the gospel. This is why we're in the position that we're in now. People can't share their faith anymore. We have the agendas going on. They're very loud. They're taking over airways. I'm not saying you have a license to sin. I'm not saying you have a license to go wherever you want. I'm not saying you have the license to go to the club. There are certain places you just should not be. Okay, that is a given. However, you can go out with your friends. You can go to the cinema and watch a Marvel movie. Go to your friend's house and play football and play table tennis. And when the opportunity presents itself, you talk about Jesus. You can go to your colleagues' work outing. You know, I remember back in the day, our colleagues used to do staff get-together was in a pub. That was a no-no. Christians should not be found in a pub. This was a big thing. Christians who ended up going for one reason or the other would have to defend themselves and say, oh, I only had the juice. If you're confident in your Christianity and you know that alcohol is not your weakness. If it is your weakness, don't go to the pub. And it's all about reasoning and wisdom. But if alcohol is not your weakness, you can go to the pub with your colleagues and discuss politics. And while you're discussing politics, oh, what's your stance on this? Speak about Jesus. And you plant that little seed and you leave. Wisdom. Guys, what do you think about this topic? Leave a comment, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. It does help me out. I'll see you on the next one.